Look at this tallow whip. It is so light and fluffy and airy. I'm gonna show you how to make this tallow whip right now. Last week I showed you how to make these infused tallow recipes. If you missed it, click the link in the description box below or up ahead here. Let's get into making the body whip. We're going to start with a pair of gloves. All you're going to need for this recipe is some tallow. You can use infused if you'd like, or plain, a bowl, a kitchen scale, and then a carrier oil. You do need a liquid oil in this recipe to give it some body and to make it a little bit lighter when you whip it. Now, in terms of choosing which oil you choose to use, there are a couple things to consider. There is something called a comedogenic scale, which basically explains how likely an oil or a product is to be clogging up your pores. Tallow sits right around a 2, and the scale goes from 0 to 5. So the tallow as the base is a really good option for full body. If you're looking to do this as a face whip, you're going to want to do a jojoba oil or a sweet almond oil, something that is lower on the comedogenic scale. Olive oil sits right around a 2 as well, so that is why I choose to use olive oil. I find it produces a very fluffy and beautiful product. However, I do not use this on my face every day. In the future, if you're interested, I'll show you how to make a face tallow lotion, but for now, let's just do the body whip. The basic ratios are 1 part of tallow to a 1/4 or a 1/3 part of carrier oil. So we'll get started with placing a bowl that is heat safe and can go onto a double boiler right on top of your kitchen scale and zero that out. I'm just trying to decide which tallow I want to use today. I think that today I'm gonna go with my infused vanilla. So let's measure out how much we have. If you'll remember, last week we did 100 grams of the tallow, but we'll have to see how much it actually ends up coming out to. You could do it in this container if you're planning on leaving this in a balm form, but because we're going to be whipping it up, I'm gonna leave it in this big mixing bowl here so I can demonstrate that for you. I wanna make sure that I'm getting all those little flecks because I think it looks so pretty. Beautiful. So yes, 100 grams is what I've got. Now I'm going to do a 1/3 part today. So we're gonna do 33 grams of olive oil. Perfect. Now we'll take this over to the double boiler and I'll show you the next step. So we're gonna place our tallow whip onto our double boiler here. If you don't have a double boiler, all you need to do is take a small pan filled with water that is a little bit smaller than your container here. Put a little bit of water in there and then place your bowl right on top. We're gonna turn on the heat to a medium-low and let this boil down, giving it a stir every once in a while. It's starting to melt down quite nicely, as you can see. Every once in a while, just breaking up those big chunks. Once everything is melted down, we're going to carefully remove it from the heat. This is going to be hot, so use oven mitts. Now that this has cooled down for a little bit, this would be the time to add some essential oils if you're interested in that. I do no more than 1% of the weight. So for this amount, I did 133 grams total of oils, so I would not go past 1.33 grams of essential oils. If you want to keep it in a balm form, this is where you would pour it into your container, but if you're interested in a whipped balm, we're going to let this solidify until it is almost all the way hardened. I have let this sit and it is completely solidified now. I actually put it in the fridge, which you can definitely do as well if you're finding it's not setting up as quick as you'd like. Now we're just going to take our hand mixer and mix it up. Then of course, every once in a while, giving it a scrape down the edges. You want to make sure everything is combined. You can see how beautifully whipped up this is getting. Scraping down the edges again. You can mix this until your heart desires, but I mix it generally around 1 to 2 minutes. Look at how light and fluffy that is. It is just so airy and amazing. Now we're gonna put it into our container. We have our whip all ready to go, but before we get into how I put it into my containers, I just wanted to let you know that I do actually sell all of these tallow whips. I wanted to put on a little bit of a special promotion for you guys here on YouTube for being so amazing. For this next week, anybody that purchases any skincare through my website will get a special gift just as a token of appreciation to let you guys know how much I truly care about you, and I feel so lucky that you're here supporting me. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get started. You can just scoop it into your container, making sure that you're tapping it in between to get the most amount of product in there. If you followed me for some time, you'll know that one of my family members has eczema and allergies, and their skin was getting so horribly cracked. The cracks were just so deep and painful, and every lotion that we tried was burning my kiddo's skin. If you're a parent with a child with sensitive skin, you know how painful it is to have to apply lotion on these deep cuts, knowing that it's gonna burn and help their skin. All of the doctors and all of the dermatologists that we saw all basically prescribed us some steroid creams, which all that did was take the edge off. Nothing ever treated the root cause, so I had to go on a deep journey of exploration, and that is why I started making so many things from scratch. So I make all of our skincare, and I make most of the food that we eat from scratch as well. So anyways, I had learned about tallow cream, actually originally through my brother-in-law. He let me know that bear tallow was the thing to do for eczema, and I was very confused. I thought it was the most strange thing I had ever heard. But then I heard it from somebody else too, that tallow really works. So we tried it on my kiddo's skin, on all those cracks, and there was no burning. And when I tell you I rejoiced, I cannot even explain to you how happy I was to find a cream that didn't burn. We tried it for a couple of days and their cracks completely healed. And since we've started using this lotion and cooking mostly everything from scratch, their eczema is gone. Now, of course, I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is just what worked for my family. With the extra in a bowl, I just wanted to do a quick demonstration. When using tallow whip, you do not need that much. Even this is quite a bit for this area of my arm, but it glides on. And if you want to lock in the moisture even more, do this right out of the shower where you're still a little bit wet, or you can wet your skin right before you use it and it will lock in all of that beautiful hydration. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate you more than you know. Take care.